Hi everyone, welcome to the KMYDN Health Front podcast. My name is Dr. Christine Mutonyi, and we are glad to have you here for conversations on doctors, on healthcare, on Kenya, and on anything basically. Karibu sana.
Welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Marie Claire Wangare, immediate past convener at Kenya Medical Association Young Doctors Network. And today we have with us a guest who's going to be highlighting life in the pharmaceutical space. But before we jump into it, we have a small energizer, as you know, to start us off with our podcast. So our energizer for today is very simple. If you were to be an animal in the wild, which one would you be?
And why?
And why?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, hi everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm Dr. Hueda Bulhan. If I was to be an animal, my favorite animal is the elephant.
Mm-hmm.
My older daughter says I'm obsessed with elephants. So now you're asking me why? Why would I be an elephant? I think the thing that I admire most about elephants is just how, first, they're so maternal. And how cohesive they are. I feel like they really embody the sense of community. And I've always admired the fact that shared that, you know, the memory that they have, right? It's like institutional memory.
Yeah.
So for me, I've always admired an elephant. I've always kind of wanted to emulate being an elephant. If my own kids, my family, society can see me in the light that I see an elephant, then I think I would have made a difference somewhere.
Wow.
That's a good answer.
That's amazing. Yeah, Christy?
I think for me, I would say a panda. Just
Panda.
because, I like pandas. I'm those people who watch panda videos on Instagram, and just the fact that they are found only in one country, which is China. Any other panda that's outside China it was lent to them by the Chinese government. And I like also the fact that they are black and white, and they're so cuddly and cute. And I just love pandas.
Wow, okay. So for me, an elephant was top of my list, but since it's been taken, I'll just go with a leopard, because my name means of the leopard. So Wangari is a leopard.
That's true.
Leopards are pretty fast, and when they are determined to get a particular animal for kill, they don't rest. Even see how they plan it methodically, from hiding in the bushes to sprinting and running for the animal. So I think that is probably one of the reasons I'll probably go with Wangari and leopard. Yes. So today, as you heard, we have Dr. Hueda Bulhan. Dr. Hueda Bulhan is a senior pharmaceutical executive and global health leader with over 15 years of experience driving clinical research excellence, access and inclusion across Africa and emerging markets. She is currently the medical director and head of corporate risk and sustainability chapter at Roche, where she leads the strategic direction of the medical affairs and license to operate functions and oversees clinical research operations to sub-Saharan Africa. Besides being at Roche, she's also committed to mentorship, diversity, and equitable access to science, and she serves as an advisory council member to OneReach or WASIP, and also an advisory committee of the Cross Pharma Capacity Development Initiative under the Science Foundation for Africa and the Steering Committee of Clinical Research Society of Kenya. So today, with that, in light of that stellar bio, we're going to be highlighting life in the pharmaceutical space and the various pathways that you can get, either in clinical research, in pharma, or just general clinical research. So welcome, Dr.
Thank you so much.
So we are so glad to have you here. I think when I was researching you before this, I was so impressed by the fact that you seem to be a person who has basically been extending the boundaries. Like the boundaries here, no, it doesn't need to be here. Like, let's take it here, you know? And I really admire that. So could you just tell us a bit of your life story, like what drove you to pursue medicine? And how did you end up in the industry that you ended up in the pharmaceutical industry? Because I think not so many doctors get into that and ended up having such a huge impact in it. Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you so much for having me today. When I look back and I think, why did I get into medicine? How did I get into medicine? Mm-hmm. I don't think that was also a very conscious decision, but it was driven by two significant people in my life, my mother and my grandmother. And so I'll start with my mom. My mom is the one who always wanted to be a doctor. Mm-hmm. And she grew up at the coast. But first of all, being a girl child, and then two, the first to go to college in her family, mm-hmm. there wasn't much guidance from the school environment and the family environment. And if you remember, in high school, we have to choose our subjects. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's going to determine, your cutoffs and your path, actually, of what you can then pursue to study further. So she chose the wrong subjects. Oh my gosh. And she didn't have guidance. And she only found out after, when results came out, that she actually could not apply for medicine. It was interesting. There was pure sciences and there was physical sciences, apparently, in the education curriculum at that time. And she had taken physical sciences, not understanding that you had to take pure sciences to be able to study medicine. So she missed out on that. She did end up coming to Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC, and ended up still becoming a healthcare worker, but not a doctor. Okay. And so this was a story that we heard a lot growing up. And so it was, I think, always her wish that her child, becomes a doctor. She now has two. Wow. So I think she's achieved something. Yeah. But the second thing that she always drove was that, if you become a doctor, you can get a job anywhere in the world. People will always be sick. So that's mom. The second aspect, as I mentioned, was my grandma. And we lost my grandmother when I was in Form 3 from complications of diabetes through chronic kidney disease. Mm-hmm. Might explain why my sister today is a nephrologist. Oh, wow. But it was a short but very intense and rapid journey into just the deterioration of her health, but also how helpless we felt as a family, because it was a big team of doctors. It was a lot of information that we could not digest. And it really made me think, wow, this is the impact that actually doctors have on somebody's life, and how you feel very vulnerable when you're on the patient side. And then that has always stuck with me as to also my approach within the career. So when I finished high school, of course, you're completing the forms. Not, as I said, not that I had much option. I think it was just medicine, pharmacy, law, or engineering. Those were the four choices you were given in our family. And so that's why we have 2 doctors, 2 lawyers, and 1 pilot. Wow. So there's 5 of us. I'm the eldest of 5. And so that's how I ended up in med school and actually studying medicine, pursuing medicine. Then, of course, life happened, right? And opportunities came. I think it reached a point where when I started, now from internship, and I did internship here at Kenyatta National Hospital, which was very interesting because whenever we used to share stories with my classmates who are now outside of Nairobi, it was a very different experience. Uh-huh. And here it was intense. Yes, we seemingly had everything working. Yeah. And we had a lot more in terms of resources compared to the hospitals outside the city. But we also saw the worst of the worst. That's true. So it was a little bit of a toss-up, right? But you get to actually see the breadth of human suffering. And I think that really started to shape how I see. So when I finished internship, then I was posted to Garissa Provincial General Hospital. And so that's where I was an MO in OBGYN. And I think that's when I really started questioning and wondering, how do medicines get to patients? Because now it was a totally different scenario from where I did internship, right? Where we could always just order, we'll blame somebody for not ordering. If there was a stock out, it was because somebody did not order. But there, that was not the issue. It was simply there wasn't anything, and there wasn't anything reaching patients. And how helpless you felt. it really made us as the doctors really bond from interns to consultants, because you're sort of like trauma bonding in the situation that you're in, and always trying to figure out, what to do and how to do it. But then that made me start thinking there's more to direct patient care when I'm interfacing with a person one-on-one. And it doesn't matter how much we study, how much we know, how much we can figure it out, if the environment that we are in is not supporting us. So that led me then to pursue my master's in public health, get introduced to the world of research as a concept. But again, when we're studying, it's very theoretical, one, and then two, it's very academic driven. So I had no exposure to pharma, and that was really purely by accident. When I moved to the US and I was job hunting and I couldn't get a job. And then I met a family friend of my in-laws who was a trained pharmacist and working now in research. And she was in town. It was a very random dinner meeting. And she just said, "But you're a doctor." She said, "They would love you in this field." And I said, "But what is this field?" And she sat down, gave me an overview, but I went home and I didn't sleep that night. I was just on the computer now Googling, what is this? I took down, roles that she was mentioning because I had never even heard of them. And, looking into what do they do? What is this? And I was just like, whoa. It really made me pause and sit and think. Then I thought, well, I really am tired of being jobless. So maybe let me try it out. What do I have to lose? Nothing. And if I hate it, I can always go back to being a doctor. But that was, the start of a whole new second career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. And from your experience, what are the major challenges and opportunities in conducting clinical trials in Africa? And why is it so important for Africans to lead their own research and drug manufacturing efforts?
Big question, big topic.
Yes.
Very complex, but it helps to think about things in a system fashion. So the first thing that I think is presents a challenge for us is because of our idea of research, and I've just shared with you my own gaps and my own unlearning and learning that I had to do. And so from the way we are trained and the way we think about research, it is purely propagating science. But the science sits within us as a scientific community. We don't think about it as a health system impact tool. So I will say for me, that has been a major shift in my own thinking and approach.
Also the human aspect.
The human aspect of all of it, right? As I mentioned, when I went to do my MPH, it was principles of research, how to write a paper, a lot of grant writing, how to get grants. And so you're driven from that. I'm going to start doing research as a clinician, but first I need to know where to get a grant, how to get a grant. And I see a lot of that conversation, right? Will you help me? How do I apply for grants and things like that? Okay, I've got the funding. Now I'm going to do the research where I am, and then I'm going to publish. Yay, awesome. Then what?
Okay.
So that disconnect.
There's a disconnect. Exactly, there's a disconnect. So, I find colleagues with, a lot of deep knowledge. The concepts are there, the solutions are also there. But then now, that's why I always smile when I hear translational medicine. I'm like, why wasn't it already translated when you were planning it and designing it? It should have already been pragmatic enough to be able to be picked up and translate into clinical practice immediately. But we don't yet think that way. So for me, I find that's a huge gap in the way we're trained, and hence it determines our whole approach. So when we talk about research capacity and skills, that's what I'm driving at. That's my number one point.
Okay.
Again, we're very thinking about it in a very insular fashion, right? And not a system-changing fashion for us.
Okay.
And the people who can drive that is the doctors.
Okay.
We're the ones who can change how research is going to
We're the
impact.
ones with the patients.
Because we are the ones with
We're
the...
the ones
We
who
actually the
actually
ones
are the
who
ones
know.
The knowledge.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when we talk about a skill and capacity building for research being a challenge, it's not just how much training needs to be done. It is what is the training, and the whole mindset needs to shift.
Okay.
So that's what I'm driving at. That's a big point for me that I feel is going to be a game changer if we actually take a pause and make a switch there. Then the second bit then is now the system, because where we're going to implement all of this, if it's not ready to support us, then that's the second biggest hurdle. Regulatory systems, ethics systems, and we always find them to be something that's distinct from us and that we cannot drive what is needed. But actually we can, and we have the responsibility to inform.
Okay. And maybe just to bounce on that, so how can we as doctors actually now get into this place of getting into this aspect of research, in the sense that how do we get to starting from thinking of, I have my patient here and I've noticed this problem, I'm a consultant or I'm a medical officer, but I think I can solve this problem through research.
Right.
So now how do we get now this person to actually move from I'm just practicing to I can also do research, I can also be in a clinical trial, I can also, get into this aspect of life.
Okay. So the long term correction of that, at least my invitation would be for the powers that be to consider, is medical training. And to really an overhaul of that, because we get research basics, but again it's from that lens of intent to design and write in a scientific publication. That seems to be the end. The A to the B. That's the end game to get to NEJM. And so it starts with that training. The foundations of it need to change, and they need to change like yesterday. Second, we need to participate in it right from our training. It needs to become part and parcel of it. For the clinical trials that I've had the privilege of actually leading in the last 6 years, in my current role where I work, I always insist for all the investigators, within your team, you have a choice of who you're going to bring on board. But guess what? Minimum, you have to have female representation. 2, you have to have different cadres of doctors on there. And usually, Professor X is like, what? Why are you coming to dictate? And I'm like, no. But I talk about something that we were chatting about just before this conversation was succession planning.
Yes.
And I frankly just say, Prof, have you thought, you as a teacher, who are you teaching and what are you teaching? And then that usually makes them stop to think. And always remind them, I'm coming to you not as somebody from a private sector, I'm coming to you as somebody who was your student.
Yes.
Okay.
How are you serving us in that capacity? What is going to be your legacy? Then that usually just switches their whole mind frame, and they're like, okay, wait, okay, we can talk. And then they do. And I'm like, because you have to inculcate that. And the world that I came in, even in the private sector, was very, very, I would say, gender-driven. Even my current role when I came in, all the other heads of clinical research operations were men.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sad.
Wow.
I think for me, I personally, as a woman, I always admire women who are doing so well in male-dominated fields. Like, not that these other female-dominated fields, they're not doing well. But the ones who are in male-dominated, I feel like you really have to have like a special strength and grace and wisdom to go into it.
I think the wisdom bit,
the wisdom,
the grit, the resilience, well, you asked me how was that experience. I think it became very stark one day when we were in a serious meeting, and I got into the meeting and we were like settling down, and then, I was like, I said, okay, good morning, gentlemen. Mm-hmm. It became very acutely, cognizant to me that, hang on, actually I play ball with these guys every day, but I've never quite noticed it. Because I don't come into the space thinking I'm a woman. I just come in, listen, this is my scope of work. This is my responsibility. How am I working with you? And I remember when I said that, even they were taken aback. It's like they were also looking around and was like, hey, what's happening here? And I saw the looks on their faces, and I just smiled. I said, this is a topic that we need to pick up later, but let's focus on what we are here today for. Now, the clinical research space, even in the private sector and operations management, that whole world of pharma, has a lot of women, yes, but not a lot of women in leadership roles. That's the difference. Majority of the workforce on the industry side of clinical research is women. We're the worker bees. We are not the ones building strategy. We're not the ones who are leading teams. We are very often not the ones being the face of it. And for me, that's when I realized, whoa, I love what I do, but I have a second opportunity and a role that I need to fulfill in shaping the next cohort of female leaders in research. Because I don't think also they see themselves as leaders. They're used to coming into a system where they plug in and carry on day to day. So that's also shaped a huge piece of how I present myself, but what I involve myself in, and creating a level of visibility that I felt was important for people to start getting used to seeing women being leaders in this space. In science.
Amazing. Yeah, I know, like, women in global health normally say this statistic that 75% of the health workforce is women, but only 25% are the ones in senior leadership positions. So it's amazing to hear that even in the pharma industry, that's also something that you get to see quite
very
a bit.
much so.
And maybe just to take a little bit of tangent on that fact, how has it been, or what advice would you give women who are trying to break into the leadership fold and trying to be leaders in their various workspaces, based on your experience in the pharma industry as a woman in global health leader? Yes, because I know you said you're passionate about mentorship.
Yes. So let me think about it. What I would share as advice is, it's scary to put yourself out there. It really is. I think the way we're socialized, it's not something that becomes intrinsic to us.
Yes. You have to switch something off.
You do, and you really have to overcome a lot of that. Like, I don't want to be there. It's okay. Let them go ahead. You have to put yourself out there.
Okay.
That's step number one.
Right.
Step number two, you mentioned that, yes, I'm very passionate about mentorship.
Yes.
But in my career journey, I would say in pharma, I've recognized that women, we are over-mentored and under-sponsored.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
I've never thought of it like that.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah. I had this aha moment, I think about 3-4 years ago. I have fantastic mentors.
Yes.
But I'm not getting
the person to talk about you in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I feel that's part of mentorship.
No.
That should be part of mentorship. Like,
we assume.
Yeah.
And I think we come into it thinking that the mentor is going to be an automatic sponsor.
Yeah.
My sponsors are not my mentors today.
Mm.
Yeah.
Food for thought. I like that you said that at the same time, because I've actually not thought about it like that.
Yes.
Wow.
And I do have fantastic mentors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you need sponsors.
you need sponsors. And sponsors are people who are in positions of influence.
Mm.
Mentors are people who can help you grow. See your
Yes.
blind spots. Look for the opportunities to get you the visibility. But the people who will be on the table mentioning your name are not the people who have the time to sit and say, MC, I think public speaking, or I think, creating your own brand is something that I can connect you to somebody with. Or I think you need a professional, career coach, right? They are two very different people. So sponsors are people who have influence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not the ones who will interface with you that closely as your mentors do, who know you inside out, but they will see your potential and they will see your impact.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be the ones to mention your name in the rooms that you're not, such that you find yourself somewhere and you're like, I don't know how I got here. It's because somebody said something to someone.
So a sponsor doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's invested in your
No.
life. Just someone
No.
who's seen, I know who Weda. I think she can do this.
Yes, I think she can do this.
Okay. So then that means you have to expand your network beyond just your peers and your mentors to people who are above you. And
Perhaps
ahead of you.
even way above you.
Yeah.
Way above you.
wow.
So you
Yeah.
need courage.
So just as you're saying, put yourself out
That's why
there.
I said number one is you need to put yourself out there.
Yeah. Wow.
And you need to be able to raise your hand. And I'll tell you, that was the hardest thing for me. Even training in med school, ward rounds, I'd know the answer. Even in classroom, but I was never that student to say,
Yeah.
it's me. I'll always be at the back of the crowd. And I'd never open my mouth. That had
And then
to
someone at
change.
the front says something, you're like,
And you're like, duh. Yeah. Or no, that's not it. But I'm still not speaking up, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
Ask any of my classmates. They'll tell you I was the quietest person in med school.
And here you are.
And they laugh when they see me today and they're just like, oh my God.
I would not
How
have
did this happen?
Okay, I think I think for me that's my lesson for this week.
So thank you for answering that question on women in leadership. We also realize that women have very many roles in society, and especially women in clinical practice. There's also the home front where they are also leaders. So maybe you could highlight to us how it has been with your work-life balance, with having all these roles, and then also still being a mom and still being all the other roles that you
A
play in
sister,
society.
a daughter,
A sister, a daughter.
The eldest daughter.
the eldest daughter, actually.
And you know how that is a very important role in African cultures, the
Yeah.
firstborn.
And not with eldest daughters in healthcare. I think it's
I
a
know.
thing.
Yeah, there's many of us.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think the concept of balance is a very beautiful illusion.
Illusion.
Illusion. I think Michelle Obama had talked about this some time back, and there are seasons for things. One of my favorite, I think, creatives, for those who used to watch Scandal and Grey's Anatomy and Shonda Rhimes, right?
Yeah.
The woman who was doing everything.
Yes.
But she's a mom. And I remember in one of her university commencement speeches, she said exactly that balance is not achievable. If we are seeing her and we are watching the effects of her work on screen and really enjoying it, best believe she has missed a school event for one of her kids. So there are seasons. It's more like integration, not balance.
Work-life integration.
Work-life integration. There's also this, and you mentioned it,
Yes.
that colleagues who work in the clinical space probably feel that their time is more stretched than those of us who are in the non-clinical space.
Yes.
I work 7 days a week.
So there's no break on
So
Sunday.
there's no break.
So it's a different kind of, I think, stress and time management piece.
Okay.
When my oldest was younger, I remember I used to put her to bed and then get back online. I work for a global company.
Yes.
Second headquarters is in San Francisco. When you're having those meetings, what time is it
It's
here?
at
3 a.m.
It's at night. Before you should be sleeping.
Yeah,
but you're
correct.
working.
But also,
Wow.
I block time off then. I became much more organized because then I understand its integration.
Yeah.
And so at work, they know I'm not going to have meetings before a certain time because in the morning, I'm getting my kids ready.
Yes.
In the evening, dinner time, that's my
Your time with the kids.
And I don't have help that sleeps over in the house. I
Mm.
am beyond 7 p.m. I am full-time mom on the clock.
Yes.
So if I have to juggle the two worlds, then that's why it's integration.
Yeah,
And some seasons demand more of you,
that's true.
Yes.
and some seasons where you'll have a little bit more breathing room on all fronts.
Yes.
And if you are a mother, then, or I would say if you are a parent, because I actually see
Then
younger male colleagues stepping up heavily nowadays, and I'm really happy about it. You learn to create that integration.
That's
and you
true.
know when children are younger, that's when they need you most. You have different shifts. You're not going to be going out and partying or have less social time than you would like, but it's that integration. As a woman in leadership, the complexities are very real. Bias is very real. It is. When I first put in mandates that I'm not going to take meetings early in the morning because I want to do school drop-offs, it was met with a lot of why. But now everybody does it.
Wow.
And even the dads.
So
Everybody-
sometimes
everyone
it's
is
even
happier.
Correct.
Inspiring people that
Yeah.
life goes on.
Yes. So, but there is, and that's how you start changing perceptions and culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there is guilt too.
Yes.
A lot of us go through the mom guilt. It's a known fact, isn't it?
Yes.
Where you feel I'm not giving my best to this and I'm not giving my best to that, and I'm just split in so many different fragments of myself. So I've learned that being authentic is actually your strength in all aspects. So on the work front, everybody knows by then I'm a mom, this is a priority. So guys, if you ever, and I'm very clear, if you ever see me stand up in the middle of a meeting and walk out with my phone, no, it's my child calling me. And that's the only reason that I will step out. But please respect that space
Yeah.
for me. Right? And at home, everybody who is my support system, from my mom to my sisters to hired help, know that being a professional, being a doctor is an integral part of who I am. It's not a job, it is who
you are.
I am.
And you never apologize for who you
And
are.
do not apologize for either.
Yes.
So that authenticity, that wholeness of ourselves, that humanity, we need to bring
Yeah.
into the mix.
I hope the parents on the podcast have gotten some inspiration. from
Yeah.
that. Be unapologetically you as a
Yes.
parent.
And know that nobody has figured it all out, by the way. It maybe some of us may make it look seamless.
Yes.
It's not. As Shonda Rhimes said, you're dropping the ball somewhere, but you've made a conscious decision. It's always risk-benefit ratio.
Yeah.
Apply that to your life as well. Risk-benefit ratio.
Yeah.
I cannot go for the mother-daughter's thing. My sister will go instead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I have to be out of the country at that time. So support each other. And I think professionally, we also need to have that culture where it's not competitive. It's not that someone is a less committed professional,
Yes.
is a
Because
less
they're building
committed
a family.
doctor,
Yeah.
because they have these needs. We have to be kind, not only to ourselves, but to each other. And I hope as a medical fraternity, we also develop that culture.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's one of the things that inspires me of Kenya Medical Association. You find even like recently, there was a World Medical Association organization of Dr. Kitulu. And they all went, and our leaders all went with their
families. Exactly.
So it's very family centric.
It's who we are.
Yeah, even when we have our own activities.
Yeah, even the conferences.
Outside the family funding.
Yes.
You find people coming with their children.
Yeah.
And you realize, oh, by the way, this doctor is also a parent. And it also inspires those of us who don't have kids.
Yeah.
It gives you
that you can do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's actually workable.
It's workable.
But those of us, honestly, probably that's the best balance. The balance in authenticity of who you are and owning all your roles and not apologizing for it. It makes us happier and it makes us better professionals.
Yes. Fantastic.
Just to take us a bit away from that and back to the aspect of pharmaceuticals and clinical trials, I think we keep saying that our healthcare system is, particularly not just in Kenya, in Africa, is built such that we are consumers, so that the health budget is a net loss, basically. There is nothing you're gaining from it. And there's always been this thought, then why don't we manufacture? Why don't we use our health to create jobs, to actually grow the GDP of the country? Why don't we make our own vaccines, make our own drugs? But we've just not found that way to do that as Kenya and Africa. And I don't know, I just wanted to know what's
the disconnect?
Yeah,
why is it not happening?
Why is it not happening, And what do you need to do to get there?
So I have very different thoughts about this.
Please
share. Which are not usually popular.
Okay.
Because it's like, wait, you're going against the grain. Okay. So when I joined pharma, I think one of the things that I was fortunate to have is an opportunity to actually go to where the manufacturing plants are. And actually see what it takes to manufacture medication. Now, also, again, our research exposure locally has been primarily in infectious disease space. And so a lot of also what comes here has to overcome things like supply chain issues, cold chain issues. So I remember when I started initially, there was a competition in Europe for people with, ideas on new molecules. And there was one that was very convincing for malaria. But nobody was picking it up from a development and manufacturing point of view, because they were like, malaria is primarily an African problem, number one. But two, this molecule is going to be injectable. It's not going to work. It needs to be in a tablet. It needs to be able to be given orally. And I remember thinking, but if this is something that's going to cure severe malaria, why not?
Why not?
Like, that was me now earlier on. And I was upset. I really had to stop and think. But when I went to a manufacturing plant, and so I work for Roche. Roche primarily is in oncology care. It's in rare diseases. So it's purely in the NCD space for now. I would say 95% of the work and the medications that are being developed by Roche. A lot of the new medications are biologics, very complex.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. When I look at from the pharma side, now there's R&D, there's manufacturing, then there's the business. This is how it goes. But they have to ensure that they have a market to even be able to invest in that. Now, big pharma companies don't have manufacturing plants all over the place, even in the Western world. They don't, because of the level of investment it takes. When I look back at the pandemic, yes, we were disadvantaged with the inequity of vaccine access.
That's true.
Right? Yes, that was a real problem. And so the first thing that people did was, well, we need to have our own vaccine manufacturing plants. If we had it here, then we wouldn't have the issue. But also people missed, I think, a bigger glaring issue that was happening to frontline workers. People did not have gloves. We ran out of normal saline, PPEs. We did not have infusion sets. So right from the basics, why are we jumping hoops to think of complex things when we haven't solved basics?
So we start making gloves first.
Please.
And PPEs.
And syringes.
And why were we importing normal saline? I never thought about these things up until the time of the pandemic. Right?
I remember I was working in the hospital at that time. And I was working in oncology. I know the special gloves, the non-powder gloves. I would be told, Doctor, please try as much as possible not to finish your stock because we don't know when we'll get another stock.
So what does that mean? Do you not use gloves for some patients? What do you do?
Remember when we're being taught about diagnosing a patient? Differentials. You start with simple things. First.
That's true. Before the zebra.
Before you go into it's Huntington, it's what, right?
Start with malaria.
You start with malaria. Start with what you can fix and where there will be a what? Market. Because you also don't want to put this very heavy investment and then it becomes a white rhino.
That's true.
You're competing with India for market, for vaccines. Who's going to buy your vaccines in Africa if you have not secured the market?
Okay. That's a key question.
So for me, it's not that I've also figured it out and I think we should do it. But for me, those are the confounders where I'm like, we need to pause. This thing for manufacturing is not as straightforward as it's being made to seem. If we manufacture, then we'll have lower cost of drugs, and so it will create access. We need to think about how we deliver therapy and what are our low-hanging fruits. And sometimes the treatment, the drug itself is the last thing on the list we actually need to solve for.
But we do still need to get there eventually.
We do, but let's start thinking
from there.
About it more holistically in how we deliver care and what is actually needed. Because you'll develop the vaccine, and then what are you getting from that molecule? How are you getting it into a human body if you don't have everything else?
That's true.
So we start thinking about the village cat and dog before we think about the lion and
the tiger.
Yes. Then I think we will actually be setting ourselves up for success rather than thinking way ahead, and then you come back and then you're like, oh wait, we didn't think about step 1 to 5 first.
All right. Fantastic. That is something to make us think about even our public health systems.
Yes.
Because many a times, this is just a personal view, I see that we are sometimes reactive in how we tackle our health problems. So sometimes it's good to just go back and think about what really is the problem in our health system.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to ask you a question on global collaborations. So how have international partnerships influenced your work? And how do you think Africa can strike the right balance between global collaboration and local ownership of its health research?
So global collaboration has been vital, I think, in the work that I do and in the success that we've had. Remember sponsors? We talked about sponsors.
Yes, sponsors.
Our new favorite word.
Yes,
sponsors.
In a different connotation, not how we use it in Kenya. So, in the professional setting. But global collaborations have been critical. For me, individually as a professional, but also for the opportunity to drive the work. When I left Kenya to go do my MPH, I think the thought that I had was, is it that healthcare is better in Western countries because simply they have more money? Or is there more to it? Right?
Yeah.
And so that clarity, I think, is also the approach that we need to take from global collaborations. what historically has happened is the person with the paycheck determines what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Determines the priorities and
Determines the priorities.
Yeah.
We need to also change our mindsets towards that, because we have disempowered ourselves. Even if I don't have the money, I have the idea. And my intellectual property is far more valuable than the funding that I need.
Very true.
Yeah. So when you come to the space with that understanding, right, it's a collaboration. It's not a funder. It's not a donor. It becomes a true partnership.
It's a partnership, yeah.
And so the same thing, whether it's a small project, whether it's an individual capacity as a researcher, whether it is on a program level, when you come to the space saying, you have an idea, but I'll tell you yes or not if it will work, because guess what? I'm the one who knows that piece. And you hold your ground. And you insist that it's a true collaboration. So the ownership has to remain with us. But it takes courage.
Yeah.
It takes courage. I think innately we always feel, I can't go because it's their money. Right?
But we also are bringing value to the table.
But you're bringing value.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's why I keep saying we do ourselves a disservice, always thinking we're bringing nothing. We're bringing value. We need to be able to be very clear first within ourselves, but also be able to articulate what that value is.
Yes.
So a lot of my colleagues here locally who work from other different pharma companies always ask me, Huida, how have you managed to get Roche to do this level of investment, to do this type of cutting edge research in Kenya? How? And I said, because I spent my first 2 years giving them the medical, scientific value. Then I realized they're looking at this from a lens of philanthropy. This is Africa. How are we going to help?
Yeah.
Helpless.
Help. And when I decided, no, I'm going to rebrand this whole thing.
Yeah.
Same details, but I started changing my message.
Okay.
And using my public health training, global health facts.
Yes.
Where is the next generation of the population that you're going to treat come
It's
from?
in Africa.
It's in Africa.
Yeah, we're the most
If you
youthful.
don't solve for the market now, your business is going to die. This is a business critical decision.
Yeah.
And people started sitting up and be like, what is she saying? What does she mean? And I said, I'm not coming to ask. I'm coming to tell you, if you're not doing this in Africa, then the person who's going to lose out is you. And you have an opportunity to lead industry and be the first and get ahead of the game. You're going to have data that nobody else has. Your science is going to be better. Down the line, if somebody asks, does your medicine work in the African population, you can absolutely confidently say
confidently,
yes.
yeah.
Right? And your brand is now going to go up in stock. And I remember now, rooms just started going silent. But I had to develop the courage to stand up and be very ballsy and say, this is it.
Yeah.
To senior leaders in the company, this is it. And if you're not doing it, then you're the one who's going to be the loser. And guess what? We're here to support you in figuring out how to do it.
I love that. I think we need to adopt that mindset everywhere in the health system.
Yes.
Actually, even in government and
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, basically. Because I was having the same discussion with an NGO CEO who was telling me about the funding cuts that they're having that are so serious. And she was telling me, over the years, we've been actually doing what they want us to do because it's their money. But now we are realizing we both have to benefit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Trump has brought for us, which is a blessing in disguise.
It is a blessing in disguise because it's putting us in a difficult position it's forcing us to think differently.
Yeah.
And when we started doing the work, I know there was some trials that I turned down, and then people were shocked. But I thought you wanted research. I said, but this doesn't make sense for us. It's only going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit our patient population, because downstream, this is not what is our biggest burden of disease.
Yeah.
So I said no, and that also shocked her.
Wow.
I wasn't going to accept everything.
Yeah.
And it's scary. But then when I was making those decisions, I'm like I need several moments to exhale, because am I shooting myself in the foot?
Yeah.
You really have to resist the urge to say no, but I have to do the right thing for us. And I don't have to say yes to everything just because.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something worth considering. So I think one thing that's coming out clearly is we should be courageous in all our initiatives. Yeah. And then thinking about the root cause of why. Why are we doing the things that we are doing? Yeah. So that it can also push us to be better doctors, better people, and also to invest in our societies more.
We have to maintain our dignity, MC.
Yes.
This is the reason that we don't have respect around the world.
Yeah. And this brings now a question on ethics and trust, because a lot of pharmaceutical work builds on the trust and the ethical considerations of research and building trust with people. By the time someone goes and says they want Panadol and not Maramoja, it's because they trust the brand. Panadol.
Yeah.
And nothing, this is not to disregard any of the pharmaceutical, just an example.
Yeah.
So mostly our training doesn't have strong ethics training, but as young doctors we learn ethics on the go.
Exactly.
With the health system that you're caught up with. So like for you, probably when you're in KNH, you learned the KNH way of dealing with ethics and trust.
Yes.
For me, when I was in Nazareth Hospital, there's also our own ways of being taught those topics.
Yeah.
But in your view, especially in pharma, where those are key concepts that keep popping up time and time again, what will you advise young doctors with regards to being ethical and trusted healthcare practitioners?
Remember when I said, even when I pivoted my career, there was a lot of unlearning and new learning that I had to do. And this was a big part of it. To understand medicine and healthcare within the confines of international regulations and ethical standards, which had not been part of my base training as a medic. And how to apply that. So this has been, I think, over 10 years of learning. I still say we have to go back and relook at our training curricula. A lot of tweaking we need to do there, right?
I think that's a recurring theme in this podcast.
Yes.
Training. From the beginning.
I was challenged recently and told, how heartless doctors are, right? But and I had to really quickly think about it, and I said, because we're taught to address the problem. What is the problem? And then fix it.
Yes.
Right? That's what we do. And so when it comes to now research and trust, that is such a tricky situation, because patients are really vulnerable. And by the time you're getting into the research space, it means either they don't have another therapy option, sometimes.
Most of the times, especially for oncology patients.
For many rare diseases, chronic illnesses, they may not be another therapy. So people are desperate. So you also realize how vulnerable those patients are. What are you going to do? And that accountability then rests with those of us who are in those positions. And that usually is the doctor's position. You have to uphold the highest ethics. You have to sit and objectively think, is this in the best interest of my patient? And a lot of the international ethical regulations always say the decision will be left to the treating physician. That is a lot of power, but also a lot of accountability to us. right? And I don't think we are trained to actually see ourselves with that sense of accountability over a person's life in that way. The human aspect of it and the human cost to it. But this is also why I think it's really important to expand ourselves as doctors and not only see ourselves in direct patient care and apply ourselves to different aspects of healthcare delivery. Because again, it's not only that we have the knowledge, but we also have the accountability for the delivery of that. So when it comes to the research space, research in Africa is also a very tricky point in that, because people may have the perception they don't want to be guinea pigs, or we've had, especially industry, come in previously, what we call helicopter research, come in, do a project and bounce out, right? Get their data, move on with life. And then the people, the system is left with, okay, what happened? Or we all had jobs for 5 years and that secured us, and then now the funding is gone and the project is over. And this is where true collaboration comes on our part. Part of that accountability rests on us, right? 2, then it's important for patients to know that the people who are conducting the research are from their own. That's why research cannot be driven by others for our people. It just can't. And remember I mentioned, that's why I realized I have a responsibility to also be a bit more visible. Because when I go and meet colleagues, when we meet patient support groups, it's important for them to know the person making the decision is one of them. The accountability rests with me. It's heavy, yes. But at the end of the day, I would not be a doctor if I'm not being a doctor.
You never remove that doctor
No,
hat.
I never do.
Yeah.
I
Even
think that's important for people to know.
even at work, I'm always very clear. Even when we're talking business, I always tell them, never forget, I am always first a doctor. My position will not change on this, even in the business realm. And so when it comes to research, it's really critical for us to be in different places, because the regulations that are made in countries, most of our ethics committee boards are full of our own colleagues. But yes, our training on ethics is, I think, very academic and not in a very practical, real sense.
And then also just to say, sometimes we don't have the best examples.
Yes.
Because there are behaviors which are sometimes unprofessional amongst our seniors.
Correct.
Like there's those who are amazing, excellent in their care, in how they talk to patients, in showing up, in how they actually give. But there's quite a significant proportion who just don't set the best example.
Correct.
And I don't know how we got here.
I think the one that has been the most frustrating for me is interacting with colleagues who want to participate in research, really will talk and lobby, and then once they get into a project, then you start seeing how they're looking for financial gain as their top priority. It kills me. You will make your money. Okay?
If it succeeds.
If it succeeds, just do the right thing. And industry trials, you will get paid way more than the grants that you're actually getting, but you have to do the work because it's a fee for service. You have to do the work, right? And so then I always question the ethics of why somebody wants to get into research. Do they see that they're going to get a big pot of money and that is their driver?
Because right now, as it stands, a lot of young doctors are looking for the new frontiers of breaking through. And pharma is one of the top.
It looks glamorous.
It looks glamorous.
We look like we make a lot more money than those who are slogging in ward rounds.
It's true.
So again, what is your base intention? And I always say though, if your base intention is not actually to be a doctor in whichever role that you're in, you will fail.
Wow.
Food for thought again.
You will
Again.
fail.
Yeah.
You can even get into the space.
Yeah.
Yes.
But imagine you're not going to get to that success that you
Yeah.
were planning to, thinking about.
Because it doesn't mean just because now maybe you're even in management.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
nothing clinical at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that simply because you're the CEO, you stop thinking about
Exactly.
the medicine aspect.
Correct.
You just now think of the business aspect.
Yes, you just think of the business.
You
aspect.
still have to keep that hat.
Yes.
I think
Always. Always.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had in our KMA lunch, right? Was it
Yes.
end of last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Once a doctor, always a doctor.
Mhm.
You remember we were told that?
Yes.
And it's
yes.
absolutely true. And we have to keep reminding ourselves of that.
Yeah.
We have not the responsibility, the accountability for our healthcare system.
It starts with you.
It starts with all of us.
All right.
I hold myself accountable, and I'm always going to hold fellow doctors accountable.
All right. Time has really flown when you're having in-depth conversations such as this one on the health front. But before we wrap up, we'd like to hear, we've talked a lot about our background as in pharma, our challenges in pharma right now. But it's also sometimes as the health front, we also like looking towards the future. And maybe you could highlight to us, maybe what is your vision of the future for African pharmaceutical space or even global pharmaceutical space, and where young doctors can plug in. Like we've mentioned, many people are seeing pharma as the next new career to venture into. So maybe some words of advice for people who are thinking about, should I join pharma or should I still slog in the ward rounds?
I think to summarize a lot of our conversation, because your question is a little bit of touching on what we've been discussing.
Yes.
Being a doctor is more than your one-to-one patient interaction. And when we recognize that, then whichever space you're in, and understanding the accountability never stops, does not go away, none of it is an easier path. None of it is an easier path.
You've had it.
It doesn't get easy.
It doesn't get easy.
None of it is an easier path. Your passion and your strength and where you can effect courage and impact is what should drive all of us.
Yeah.
I happen to have accidentally got into the space that I did,
Yes.
but I only became successful, and I'll be very candid, I only became successful in it when I put my doctor hat back on. And I approached everything in that light, whether or not it was popular, whether or not it was the thing that was the priority, but it has now and continues to define my guiding light, my North Star. And as a fraternity, that's what needs to guide us in whichever space you're in. Your passion, your courage with integrity, but understanding that being a doctor and being a successful one, yes, goes beyond one-to-one patient interaction, but the accountability does not stop, whichever facet you're in. My sister, as I mentioned, is a nephrologist. Many colleagues know her. And she is brilliant in patient interaction. She's a clinician. And she always tells me, I can't do what you do. And I always tell her, I can't do what you do. So we each have our strengths. And they're complementary. I look at things from a system perspective, and she's looking at care on a very direct perspective. That's how we see each other. We are still colleagues. And that's how I think we should, as a fraternity, honestly, that is my hope and my vision. You asked what is my vision for Africa. I think when we see that we are the ones who are responsible for healthcare delivery in Africa, when we come to the space not as second best is actually leaders. When we are ready to define what we need, not based on the amount of finances that we have, but the outcomes that we actually want for better healthcare. When we accept leadership for our healthcare system, that is my hope and my vision for Africa in whatever facet that it is. I think it is very possible to achieve. We don't have to wait for the big manufacturing plants, for money to come, it starts with small steps. But if we remember that we have the collective accountability as doctors for the state of our healthcare system, then I think that's where the starting point is.
I think there's no better way to end the podcast. So we need to be accountable.
We need to be accountable.
And lead and own the system.
We are the best and brightest of our people and the hopes of our families and our communities. It starts with us.
It starts with us. I love that.
Yes.
Dr. Huwaida, asante sana. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so that's it. You've had it here at the health front. So it's not just mentorship, it's sponsorship as well. It's not just, you're always a doctor wherever you go. Never remove that hat. And it's accountability, it's ownership, leadership. And, the sky's the limit if we do that, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, just look at me. Honestly, this was not planned, right? I laugh at it every day, but
still going strong.
Yeah, still going strong. But I have that accountability, right?
Yes.
Wow.
So yes, this podcast has been powered by the Kenya Medical Association Young Doctors Network. To join Kenya Medical Association, head over to kma.or.ke, follow the simple instructions and pay your membership fee to become a member of KMA and automatically KMA Young Doctors Network. It's open for doctors under the age of 40 years and within 5 years of undergraduate training. Thank you all. Until the next conversation. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.